Okay, hey everyone. So this is the official start of Nonna and Gaby's Fall Favorites. Welcome. I'm so excited that you're all here with me tonight. This is one of my favorite meals to prepare. I don't always prepare all these things together, but tonight I am, and that's really exciting because it's all my favorite things. The first thing we're going to do is, excuse me, we're going to roast our chicken because that's going to take the longest. So this whole thing and this whole class, and basically it's good because it's preparing me for Thanksgiving, is a oven game. I only have one oven. For those of you who have two ovens, awesome, go you. It'll be a little less tricky for you, but I'm going to show you how to make it easy. And like I'm working with one oven, so I'll show you how that all works. So my oven is preheated to 400 degrees. Very important. We're going to put the chicken in at that temperature, and then we'll lower the temperature eventually. So the first thing we're going to do is, hopefully you have all your veggies prepped. If not, prep them, put them in a roasting dish. And then we're going to take our lovely bird over here. I patted it dry. Make sure you pat it dry with a paper towel. And I brought it to room temperature. And I'm going to have it breast up. Some people, I don't know what people prefer to do. But I usually roast breast up. And what I'm going to do is I'll just gently rub it with coconut oil. If you don't have coconut oil, olive oil is perfectly fine. Also, a note about chickens and birds in general. It's really cool to do a dry brine. We're not doing that because you have to let it sit. But it's an idea for Thanksgiving, and I can do an Instagram story or something having to do with the dry brine because it's much easier than wet brining. You don't have to put it in a water bath, and it really, really flavors the turkey. But this recipe is an awesome recipe for a chicken that doesn't involve a dry brine. So that's also really cool because it takes the time out of it, even though a dry brine is super easy. So I'm my chicken. Gonna get my coconut oil. Any oil, you can use any oil. You actually don't even need that much. I just like to put some on so that all the things that I put on later will stick to it. So I use about a tablespoon. And since we're working with chicken, obviously remember, keep washing your hands because we're gonna be working with other things and you don't want chickeny other things. So I'm just rubbing it like you would yourself, like just imagine, or don't imagine, but I don't know, like a lotion, right? You're just rubbing it, and I'm gonna flip it over. And so your hands are gonna get a little dirty for this, but I don't mind getting my hands dirty. If you want, you can use gloves. And the coconut oil, since this chicken is still like a little cold, it's not totally brought down to room temperature. The coconut oil is getting a little hard because it is hard at this room temperature. So it's solidifying a little bit. And now, with my oily hands, I am going to season it. But also, before I do that, I am going to season, I'm going to put a few dollops of oil in the pan. So if you have olive oil, you can just drizzle a little bit around on the vegetables so they get some, but they will cook in the chicken dripping, so you don't have to worry too much about that. So I'll do that first. I just want to get my hands unoily, de-oiled. So I'll just put probably the equivalent of like half a tablespoon just around so the vegetables get some coconut oil up, because I actually have like a massive amount of vegetables, and this will all melt and incorporate in the oven, which is cool. This is why I love making roast chickens, because like you just have to chop things and put it together, and that's it. So next up, I'm going to next up I'll season the chicken. So I'll just have some salt, and just be liberal with the salt. I have a palm full here. I'm just going to sprinkle it over the top. And then a little bit more. And then I'll flip it over do the other side. But before I do that, I want to get the pepper on as well. I just love a roast chicken, and especially with this whole getting it in at 400 degrees. Ooh, why is my pepper not coming out? Come on, pepper.
Is there pepper in it?
What?
Is there enough in it?
Yeah, I just filled it. Well, you just got me the pepper shaker. I mean, some is coming out, but it's very little. I think it's time to upgrade to new pepper mill. As I'm adding that to my Nonna wish list. So I have ground pepper here, thank you. And so I'll just give it a little, ooh, this comes out fast. A little dusting. Great, salt and pepper. Give it some color. You can also put any other spices on it, paprika. Maybe I'll have it, actually, maybe I'll have it breast. I think I'll do it breast down. Is that what I usually do? I can't remember. Anyway, so salt on this side. And I'm using Himalayan pink salt, which those of you who have been in my class before know that I do that, but I love it. It's a little less salty than like a kosher salt or table salt, and it's full of minerals, so it's really good for you. It's a good kind of sodium. All right, that is that. Now I'm going to stuff the cavity. So I have an old onion that was in my fridge, so I felt bad for it, and I'm going to use that half an onion first, but I just want to cut off this bit that was exposed, and then I'll use the rest of it. And basically what I'm going to do is take half an onion and stuff it in the cavity. And then I will take, so I have another onion, and I'm going to quarter this onion as well. Remove the skin, and then I'll put probably a little chunk about this size, like a quarter of a half of an onion. If it fits, I'll maybe even less in the top cavity. So if you can fit it in, not really. Okay, so maybe I'll just stick it here. Sometimes you can fit stuff in both sides, but I'll just put extra in the back side, and then the rest of the onions I will scatter around the bird. So like little quarter-sized pieces like this, and I'll put it around with the root vegetables, because I like roasted onions as well. And then I'll just leave this other half of the onion to go back in the fridge. So I'm defeating the purpose of using the used onion, and now I have another half onion in the fridge, which I will have to find something to do with tomorrow or the next day, but soon. It'll get used, don't worry. And then cutting this last bits of onion, just really nice chunks, and arranging it around my chicken. All right, great. And then lastly, some garlic. So I'll have about, if I can open this, 2 cloves, and I think I'll have another clove.
One random fall.
Yeah.
It's like around.
I saw it.
Did you scoop it into the dish with the onions?
No, maybe. Well, I'll put 2 cloves. So 1 in the cavity. So for the onion, I just smash the onion, and then so it comes out of its little shell, and we're going to shove it in the or place it in. Place it in the cavity, and then I'll just put the other one in there too, because I have 2 cloves out here. And then the other part that's going, the other stuff that's going in the cavity is a sprig of thyme and a sprig of rosemary. So here I have some.
You just take the skin.
What?
The garlic skin instead of the garlic.
Oh, did I stick the garlic skin? Guys, sometimes that happens. I mean, it doesn't matter if you stick garlic skin in here, it's just garlic skin. So I will stick stick a sprig of rosemary in here as well, and some thyme. So, all right, it's a lot of time here. We have so much time. All right, great. And then, let me see. I think, let me see how I want to do this. Oh, I think I want to do breast because I like when the breast skin gets crispy. And then, okay, so I'm just creating a little bed for my bird. And then I still need to season it with pepper. So I'll do that first. And then season it with pepper. And then we are going to add our herbs on top. So to pull off the rosemary from the stem, just hold the top of it and then pull down. And you might get some other bits of stem in it as well. But that's okay, because you can pick them out, or if you want to be really tedious, you can pull off one by one. But I'm just gonna sprinkle some rosemary onto my chicken, and then around on the vegetables, and then I'll do the same with the thyme. And it's the same trick for getting thyme off the sprig. So you hold it at the top, and you pull down, and then the little leaves should come off. And if you get some twiggy bits, that's okay too. And then the finale of this chicken is, oh, I want to also season the vegetables a little bit. But the grand finale that we're going to do is the orange. It's my like secret weapon. You could do this with a lemon too if you don't have an orange. It gives it a nice zesty, fresh flavor, and it gives it a little bit of a sweetness. The orange, lemon obviously would have a little bit more of a sour note, but also very good. And I'm just gonna finish with these sprigs. And you can even put like whole sprigs in with the veggies, and then when you serve it, take them out. Like if you want to just put it on top so it's fragrant. All right, I'm calling that a day for this time. And my orange. Okay, so here's my orange. And what I'm going to do is just roll it so you get the juices out. And got some garlic on there. Ooh, nice navel orange. I don't know if it's from Florida, but I am. All the good things are. Anyway. And what do I have here? No, rosemary bits. And we're just gonna squeeze it all over the chicken. So like getting like a shower, an orange shower. And then guess what I'm gonna do with the rest of this squeezed orange? Well, whatever I can, I'm gonna cut it in half. And stick that in the cavity. Let's see if I can fit the other half in as well. I'm just putting a lot of stuff in here. All right, there we go. I got the whole half in. And then this half, I am going to cut up into chunks and stick with the vegetables. So that's really yummy too if you like cooked oranges. And you can give like a couple of them like a little squeeze, but then leave some of the juice out so you can eat it. Very tasty. And just get that underneath there. All mixed and incorporated. Okay, so finally I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt around, I don't think I did that yet, to the veggies. So just a little bit, so they get salted. The ones on the side especially, because the ones under the chicken will get the chicken salt and the chicken juice, but the ones on the side didn't really have much salt. So just a teeny bit. And now we're ready to go in the oven. So I am, oh, also, if you have string, I don't have string, but I have a little tiny piece of cheesecloth. And I'm just going to tie my chicken legs together so they stay together nicely, like a cute little present. Sometimes if you have a long enough time sprig, you can do it with that, but I always end up breaking it because I'm too aggressive. So this is my method. And this is also very easy to cut off. And don't use dental floss because oftentimes it's flavor. So I'm gonna put this in the oven. I'm gonna wash my hands because I have chicken hands. And I will be back in 1 minute. So this is going in the oven. We're putting it in the oven at 400 degrees for 30 minutes, and then we're gonna come back and lower it. And then the next thing we're gonna work on is the Brussels sprouts. So if you get back before I do, start chopping your Brussels sprouts or finish chopping your Brussels sprouts, okay? So oh my goodness, this is heavy. Good thing I worked out today. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the oven and I'll be back in a jiff. So I'm gonna give my knife and cutting board a little rinse. Not that I used chicken on here, but I chopped stuff that was touching chicken, so we just want to be safe. All right, and back with a new knife and a new cutting board. So we're doing the Brussels sprouts next because, as I mentioned, this is an oven game. So we need to maximize the use of the oven. So the Brussels sprouts are also going to cook at 400 degrees, and we're going to do a similar thing. So I'm just going to fill a baking sheet. I already have some cut up already. And what I do with the Brussels sprouts is I just, no, so we're going to set a timer for 30 minutes. So you can set that now if you have once you have your chicken in, and then we'll lower it to 350. So, and these cook for about 35 to 40 minutes on 400, but since the oven is going to be still hot, it's okay if you lower it down to 350. So I'm just trimming the end off and cutting these in half. If you have small enough Brussels sprouts, or if you like them whole, you can leave them whole to take that extra step out. It doesn't matter. And as I wrote in the recipes, I don't know if you guys had a chance to peruse them yet, but a nice Thanksgiving twist that I used to make for my family when I was growing up in Miami is I would drizzle some maple syrup onto it and mix it in. So it gives it like a nice, nutty, little sweet taste. About a tablespoon. You can do half a tablespoon if that seems too sweet for you, but a lot of it cooks off. So use your judgment. It's not that much. So I'm gonna just finish filling this tray with however many Brussels sprouts will fit. And you don't want to overcrowd it because you want them to get nice and brown and crispy. And so the reason I half them also is because the bits that are close to the top of the oven get crispy, and the ones that are actually in contact with the pan get nice and golden as well. And I love that golden feel. And then I'm gonna also put coconut oil on this, but again, if you don't have coconut oil, you can substitute with olive oil. That is totally fine. And this is just a very basic roasting of the Brussels sprouts. And at the end, if you want, you can, since we have oranges, we can finish with some orange, which is what I am planning to do. But I didn't write that in the recipe, so maybe I'll edit it at the end when we finish. So I'm gonna cut a few more Brussels sprouts, so we can get these in the oven as soon as possible. So hopefully you are working in sync with me. If not, that's okay. You can pause me, ask me to repeat. Whatever you need, I am here. Also, for those of you who are watching the replay, if you have any questions, you can always email me at thenonnagaby@gmail.com, and I'll answer any of your cooking questions. But hopefully everything will be straightforward, and you will have received all of the notes and modifications from the class. So, and also if you're watching the replay, you can pause and say, hold on, Gaby. Not ready, I'm not there yet. So we're at the Brussels sprout phase. It's always a good phase to be at. And this is also one of my favorite parts of the fall because, I don't know, they're so great. I actually was disappointed because when I bought the Brussels sprouts, sometimes they come on this stalk, but they're not at that phase yet, I guess, or not at that phase where they're selling it like that yet. So I'll have to wait for that. Maybe next time I go to the farmer's market. Okay, I think this is enough for my tray. My tray is pretty full. And the rest I will use another time. That's the side. And I'm gonna do the same thing with the coconut oil. So I'm just gonna put a few dollops of it on. And with the Brussels sprouts, I will mix it all together. And if you wanna add the maple syrup, you can add a little drizzle of it over as well. And I'm gonna get my hands dirty again and just sprinkle some salt over. Again, the Himalayan pink salt. Okay, great, and then a little bit of pepper, not too much. And I'm not using maple syrup tonight because we can, or maybe I'll just put the orange in now. I have another orange in the fridge. So I'm just, because coconut oil is solid at room temperature, at this room temperature, because now it's no longer summer and the coconut oil is not melted, I'm smushing it together. But this is also a good idea to do with olive oil. You can also do this in a bowl, but I'm trying to preserve as many dishwashing things, so I am not doing it in a separate bowl. And then I am going to squeeze some orange over it, so a little less than half. And then the rest of this lovely orange I'll eat later, maybe with dessert. And then just squeeze some of it over, and then it's gonna be really yummy. So we have like a little theme going. All right, great. And then I'll give that another quick toss like this with my hands. And then these will go straight to the oven because we want to get them roasty and toasty. So yeah, so we can take that to the oven, thank you. And then the next thing we're gonna do when you're back is the sweet potato pie. So if you do not have, when you come back, we are going to put a pot of water on to boil so you can start steaming the sweet potatoes in that pot. Yeah. So I have my little hefty little nifty, hefty, not hefty. Hefty is not the right word. I'm just not knowing the word I'm looking for. Will you fill this with water, please? And I'm gonna bring a pot. I have a little pot, and I have steamer baskets that are amazing, and they just go in here, and I'm going to put my sweet potatoes in here. And I have some pre-chopped that I will add to the bucket while we are preparing our crust. So for the crust, and I might have to peel a little more, but in the meantime, I am going to bring this water to a boil. And just be sure to watch. So see, I just cubed and peeled my sweet potatoes, and they're going on here. This is like a nice little heater. It's cold in New York, so this is great. I just need the lid for the steamers. Should be out somewhere. Where did I put it? And thanks. And I'll get some more chopping, but first I want to make the crust because, as I mentioned, it is an oven game. So the crust needs to bake at 400 degrees for a little bit. So I have 2 small pie pans, but if you have a regular size pie pan, that's cool. I just didn't have a big one, so I'm working with what I have. And make sure you grease them. I didn't do that yet, so I will do that later. But I am going to start by adding my 2 flours. So I didn't mention this in the recipe, but you can do this with all-purpose white flour or just a regular gluten-free flour if you want to keep it gluten-free. I just made this recipe once before with a mix of amaranth and brown rice flour, so I wanted to recreate it. So I'm putting in my brown rice flour, 2/3 of a cup of brown rice flour, and then a cup of amaranth flour. So those 2 things are going in the bowl. And then I'm also adding into this some ginger. Oh wait, no, the ginger's going in the actual pie mix. And then I'll just add some salt. Oh, and we need to add some rosemary. So before I do that, I want to put some rosemary in the crust. So same thing, I'll do this with about 2 sprigs and just peel off the leaves. And then I have this beautiful rosemary. It's like so plentiful from the Park Slope Food Co-op. It's amazing. And it smells so good. It's fresh. I love rosemary. I can eat it in everything. If you don't like rosemary, then just you can have a plain crust. It'll taste just as good. It just won't have the rosemary flavor, which if you don't like it, you don't like anyway, so that is okay. Oh, and I have some rosemary leaves that fell off over here, so I'll just chop that too. So you want to fine chop the rosemary because it's going to be incorporated in the crust, right? And I'm just gonna run my knife through it and then just keep doing this for a while until it gets nice and finely chopped. Running my knife. I'm getting a nice like steamed facial from sweet potatoes. So I said about 6 medium sweet potatoes, and I had like 2 larger sweet potatoes that I chopped up earlier, and I have a few smaller ones that I need to add in, but I'll do that in a sec because we're gonna make this pie crust first. I want to get it in the oven, and I think we are low on time for getting it there, but it's okay. Even if it bakes at 350 for a little bit, the crust, because it only needs to be in the oven for 10 minutes, that is totally fine. And if your rosemary isn't super finely chopped, that's also okay. It'll be good. So I did a pretty fine chop of it, I think. What do you think? Looks good to me. Nonna approved. So what is going in? Yeah, so we're gonna add this into the crust. And then this is like what you do with pie crust. So since I'm lucky because this is cold coconut oil. So we're gonna have about 10 tablespoons of coconut oil. And you could do the same thing with butter if you're making it dairy. And you wanna just make sure you're putting it in chunks, not in small chunks. If it was butter, you would cube it. So just think little cubes with your coconut oil. So I'm on tablespoon number 2. Three. I'm just making little cubes with it. 4. 5. This is also very getting your hands dirty day. I think every dish involves getting your hands dirty. And I think that is 10. Okay. And then what you are going to do is, you can do this in a food processor. I don't want to need a food processor, and I've always made pie dough with my hands. So I'm just going to clump it together with my hands until it becomes like little pebbles. So I will show you that desired consistency in a bit. Peel and chop those sweet potatoes for me. If you have a sous chef in the kitchen with you, you can ask them to peel and chop the sweet potatoes for you. So when they washed, yeah, but you're peeling them. They can peel and chop the sweet potatoes for you. That's the best thing about having a sous chef. Because it's also really fun to cook with your friends or your family. Like if you like cooking with your mom, daughter, fill in the blank. All right, so I think maybe I skipped a tablespoon. I might add one more tablespoon because it's not quite as pebbly as I want it to be. I'll show you the desired consistency, but it's basically there. And then to this, we're gonna add cold water from the fridge. So if I mix it around, you see how it is, I'll come a little closer. You see how it is a little like, looks like pebbles. It's not a totally, it's not so powdery. And with coconut oil, it might be a little bit harder to see. With butter, it'd be a little easier because the butter is probably colder if you're taking it straight out of the fridge. So then to this, we're gonna add some cold water. So I'm gonna get the cold water out of my fridge and I'll be right back. And you can get your cold water. And this also reminds me to drink some water. So I'm gonna do that. Everyone have some water. Important to stay hydrated while cooking. And then we're gonna add cold water. So we're gonna add about a 1/3 cup, but I'm just gonna go really slowly. So you wanna add like a few, like a drizzle at a time. And then maybe I'm going to use a whisk for this. So, and then just mix it together. Just so much easier with your hands. I just love using my hands. And then you keep adding the water until it resembles a pie dough consistency. So I'll show you. And this whisk is not working for me. I might just use a fork. The thing about whisks, they're great for eggs and egg whites, but when you're baking, I feel like so many things get stuck in it and I don't like it. So I have a fork here. I'm just gonna mix it with a fork. It's much easier for me. Okay. And then I'm gonna add more water. So now it is starting to resemble pie dough a little bit. So it's starting to like stick together a little more. I don't know if you can see, but I'm gonna transition to using my hand so I can feel it. Yeah, and this is way more like pie dough. So I think I've reached my limit here. Mine's a little sticky, but I think it's because of the flour that I'm using. So it's like you can pick it up and form it into a ball. And that is what you're going to do. Just form it into a little pie dough ball. And be sure if you have sweet potatoes steaming, Natty, you know we can see you on the camera. So now I have my little ball of pie dough. I'm going to put it in here until I'm ready to put it in the pans because I have not greased them yet. But be sure to check on your sweet potatoes and water levels because you don't want to burn the pots. I still have water. That's a bad thing that happens if you don't have enough water in your pots and you're steaming sweet potatoes, then you can burn the pots. So I'm going to grease my pans with coconut oil. It's a great dairy-free option. My hands are so dirty. So I'm just going to do it with a paper towel, some oil, and just rub it around. You could do this with butter if you prefer butter. Today I am making everything dairy-free, I think. Yes, everything is dairy-free in this meal. So for you dairy-free people, yay. But not everything is vegan. Yeah, this can go on top. You can just come here and put them. Thanks. So the sweet potatoes should take about 10 minutes to steam. Hopefully they'll be done steaming soon. So now we have the pie dough. Since I have 2 pies, I'm going to divvy this up into 2 separate balls, and then you're going to press them into your pie dish and work it up on the sides if you want to have a side pie, or if you want to just have a bottom crust, that's cool. Do whatever works for you. We'll see how it comes out. And then you can modify as you make this. You know, you can say, I don't like using rosemary in the crust, or I want to use more salt, or I want to use whatever. And this pie crust is actually very thick. I think I don't have big enough pie dishes. So that's 1 down. I think we're gonna have sweet potato pie in my house for a few days.
Don't mind.
The roommates don't mind. Okay, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You can clean it up before it goes in the oven. And then I have my second pie dough, and I'll flatten this out. So this is, I made this last year for Thanksgiving, and it was a big hit. So I thought I should bring it back for this fall, and maybe it'll be on the Thanksgiving list again this year. So stay tuned also for that. And I will share, oh, I think I didn't divide them up because this one doesn't have enough. Okay. See, nothing needs to be perfect. There are no real mistakes when you're cooking. And this will be really yummy. Okay, so this pie crust will be a little bit thinner. And then what you're gonna do before they go in the oven is wipe the top off, get any bits off, and then take your fork and just poke some holes in it. If you're using regular flour, it might be a little bit, mine's a little bit more wet, but it's because of the flours that I use. The regular flour will be a little less sticky. Also, I may have used a little too much water, but we'll just keep it between us. So I'm just making a little bit of incision. So now I have my 2 pie crusts are ready with fork holes inside. And then these are gonna go into the oven for about 10 minutes at 400. So I don't know how much longer we have on our timer, but
9 minutes.
so perfect, 9 minutes. So it's the perfect timing. And now I will wash my hands and clean off my table and be back because the sweet potatoes still need to steam for a bit. And if you guys are all caught up with me, that is awesome, but I want to give you guys a minute to catch up, ask questions. How's everyone doing? Let me know. So the table's getting cleaned. I'm going to rinse my hands because we're going to get to mixing some other stuff in a little bit. We're going to make it high filling once the sweet potatoes are steamed. have a big bowl here from our sweet potato because I suspect that we will have a lot of sweet potatoes, slash that I will have a lot of sweet potatoes to put in this. So let me see. I just want to check and see how they are doing. And these ones are not ready. So we might have to wait on this. I'll just keep this going. Will you, oh, there's a timer set for 10 minutes, right? So I just want to make sure that the water is high enough. It is. Great. So in 10 minutes, I will check back again. This burner, luckily, is lightning speed, so I have faith. But for the sweet potato pie, we are going to be using fresh ginger. If you don't have fresh ginger, then you can use powdered ginger, the spice, but it won't be the same amount. It will be about half the amount, or because then it'll be very strong. And if you don't like ginger, you can totally omit it. A lot of people don't like ginger, but we're gonna add ginger and some cinnamon and some nutmeg, salt and pepper. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I have to see how much ginger I have in here. So we need about a tablespoon. And here is my tablespoon. So I already pre-grated some, but I also want to show you how I grate the ginger. So I don't have a full tablespoon. I have probably about a half tablespoon of grated ginger. So for my ginger, where's my trusty ginger? Here you are. So I have here some older ginger and some young ginger. So the older ginger is the regular ginger root that you see in the grocery store. And the young ginger is just a younger plant. It doesn't last as long in the fridge, but it smells very good. This is great in salads, but you can use it in baking. I have both around, so I'm using both. But for now, I'm gonna stick with the regular ginger. And a cool trick, if you didn't know it, to peel your ginger, you just pull back with a spoon. And hopefully I should do it over something. I'll do it over this cutting board. And the skin will just come off, right? So I'm going to peel the ginger with my spoon, and it just comes off much easier. A lot of people are like, oh, it's annoying to peel. What do I do? Am I gonna do it with a knife? Then I lose half the ginger. With a spoon, you really only get the actual skin off, which is great. So you're saving your ginger. You're using all of the ginger that you buy. And it's a precious thing because I really, for one, really like ginger, and I use it in a lot of my cooking. So what I'm gonna do is, okay, I'm gonna remove this tablespoon from here. And I have this tiny little bowl that I grated into, but I'm gonna grate it into this bigger bowl. And this is a little wrist forearm workout, and just grate the ginger into, you can also rough chop it if you want, if you don't want this labor intensive workout, but I find that if it's finer, you don't get that intense bite of like, oh wow, ginger hitting you in the face. So our chicken is in the oven, our Brussels sprouts are in the oven. I'm excited to taste them with our orange, with our juiced orange on top. I think it's gonna be very tasty. See, this takes, it does take some time. This is an investment of your time, but you know what? Your arms are getting stronger. And yeah. The flavors, this is called what I call the labor of love that goes into cooking. Sometimes people ask me, oh, Gaby, why does it taste different when you cook it than when someone else cooks it? It's like, well, I'm really patient. And I put the labor of love. Oh, sorry, I'm like shaking my table. There's not an earthquake happening here. It's just me leaning on my table while I'm grating. It's tiring. But I did work out this morning. I went to a dance class. So I am ready for this. So I'm gonna get while the sweet potatoes are still steaming, I'm gonna get all of the spices and everything else that goes into it in the bowl so that we have it ready. And then we can go to that. So let's just make sure this is a tablespoon of ground ginger. Yep, that looks good. Perfect. Dump it in. And then we'll add in the other spices. So we will be grating some more ginger. So if you want to get on the ginger grating party, feel free. Oh, did I use? Oh no. So I have some pre-grated here for later for the Gingersnap cookies. So you can keep grating if you want. Just so you have enough for the Gingersnap cookies. You will need 2 tablespoons for that. So if you want to keep grating, work that forearm. I'm going to take a little break. So then we're going to put in the spice mixture. Sorry, I need to take a sip. 2 eggs are going to go in here, which I need to get out of the fridge. A tablespoon of cinnamon, and then half a tablespoon of nutmeg. So where's my half tablespoon? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, half a teaspoon. Half a teaspoon. Where did I put my measuring? Oh, they're right in front of me. This is always what happens. Okay, so 1/4 teaspoon, half a teaspoon. I'll do the nutmeg first. There's my nutmeg. Oopsie. Get the lid off. So half a teaspoon of nutmeg. I love all of these fall spices. By the way, pumpkin spice. You can probably even put pumpkin spice in here and that will taste really good. Okay, so that is our timer, our 9-minute timer. That was for the pie crust and also the chicken. So if you have your chicken in for 30 minutes at 400, we're now going to lower it to 350 degrees. So the reason we're doing that is so we don't want it to cook on that high temperature for such a long time because then it would dry it out. But we just want to get it flashed in the heat, get that crispy skin, give the chicken a little tan, and then we're gonna like cook it low and slow, or low-ish and slow-ish for the next hour and a half. I don't really, an hour and a half is my guesstimate. It depends on how, I just want to check on these again, how big your chicken is. I usually do 20 minutes per pound rule. So if your chicken is smaller, you have less time. Mine was about, overboard. Cleaning tower of sweet potato. Mine was about, so these ones are done on the bottom. So maybe I'll do a little rotation. Mine was about 4 pounds, I think, or 4.5 pounds. So you're also getting a sauna, which is nice because it's great to multitask. So I'm going to put the ones that were put on the bottom, were put on the top on the bottom, and then that way they can cook a little bit more, and then we'll be done in about 5 minutes. So hopefully by the time I get all of the spices in here, we will have, that looks, it's fine. It's okay. It's a little like this. Leaning tower of steamer baskets. This is me every morning making my breakfast. So how is the pie crust doing? Did you guys check on your pie crust?
What do you want it to look like?
Let me see. We're getting one brought out. Okay, mine needs a little bit more time, so I'm going to put it in for about 5 more minutes because mine's a little soft. So,
you want to just leave the Brussels sprouts?
Yeah, the Brussels sprouts we're going to leave in for another 10 minutes. So you know what? I'm going to leave my crust in. I'm going to set another timer for 10 minutes and then check in with my Brussels sprouts and the pie crust. So the Brussels sprouts, are they getting like too overcooked? Okay, so you know what I'm going to do? Scratch that. I'm going to pull out the Brussels sprouts because I'll just flash broil them before we serve so that they get that brown consistency. So if you have 2 ovens, and you can keep one on 400, then I would keep the Brussels sprouts in for another 10 minutes. But since the heat's going down, I don't want them to steam. I want them to get crispy. So I'll turn it on to broil in a bit. So back to the sweet potato pie filling. So we have in here 2 tablespoons of grated ginger, half a teaspoon of nutmeg powder, and then I'm going to add take this off again. I'm going to add in, you know what, maybe I'll just eyeball this, but 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, but this is very hard to take off. I'm going to eyeball it and use this together. So if it's a little over, I like cinnamon and everyone in this house likes cinnamon, so we're having a cinnamon party. I think that is, with everything that's falling into the bowl, I think that's okay. So, because it's so annoying to take these off and put them back on, but they're good for when you want a little sprinkle. Okay, so we have our cinnamon, we have our nutmeg, and we have our ginger in there, and then also I want to add, of course, a little bit of salt. You can add as much as it tastes, a little bit of pepper, a few shakes. I think we're gonna add egg to this. So if you want to taste the flavor, maybe taste it before we add the eggs in. And then also we're gonna add some milk into it. So I have coconut milk, but you can use any alternative milk or regular milk if you'd like. Then this pie will also not be dairy. So I'm going the dairy-free version. So I have some coconut milk with me. And then we're gonna mix this all together. Oh, and also for the pie middle, we're gonna add a tablespoon of flour. Let me find my right flour. There it is. So not a tablespoon, I'm sorry, half a teaspoon. Getting everything mixed up today. 1 teaspoon, half a teaspoon. Okay, so all this is going in with our sweet potatoes. So, and that's just for when you're making pies that are custardy, they use this whisk. Even though I just said I don't like them. You know what? I'm going to add the eggs to this mixture now so that they're, oh, actually, no, I'm not going to do that because my sweet potatoes are hot and I don't want them to cook the eggs. So I will not do that right now. But I'm going to check on these guys. I can probably start mashing some of them. So these look like they are mashable. I'm just going to dump these in. I don't know if I'm going to need to use all of them, but I was on the side of safe rather than sorry. So my sweet potatoes, a lot of them were like super big, so 6 may have been aggressive for me, but so I'm just going to start smashing away at these. And now I can smell, since these are hot, I can smell all the cinnamon and so this is half my sweet potatoes. This isn't all of them. I'm just using half of them. I'm going to see how it works out with the rest of them. Like how, because my pie dishes are small. But you guys, you're working with normal size pie dishes. Ooh, I'm hot. I feel the steam coming up. And then eventually I will need 2 eggs from the fridge. And so you can get those out, bring them to room temperature, put them in a bowl.
Smelling good.
Yeah, I know, it smells
very good.
like a Christmas holiday party in here because the nutmeg and ginger, like nutmeg, ginger steam bath to the nose. And you can also feel free to add herbs into this. Like if you want to add thyme, that could be a cool thing. This you can throw not done. Going back in. So we want to make sure they're really mushy because like this is going to be a custard-like thing, and I'm finding some not so smushed ones. So do we have a timer set for the chicken? I don't think so. I'll just set an hour from now because I think that, and then we'll check it and see. I think I need to remove some of these guys. So we're not totally ready. I probably should have steamed them before or told you guys to do that, but you guys are mostly on the same page as me, so that's good. But you want it to be really soft. Like some of these are, I'm sticking them back in. I think it only probably needs like 5 more minutes, but you want them to really be falling apart. Like you don't want this to be an effort at all to mash. So the mushier it is, the more cooked they are, the easier it is for you ultimately. And then you don't have to do what I'm doing. So don't do this. What not to do. But some of them are, put your steamer that you had on. So some of you guys might have metal steamers. That is totally cool too. And then,
what are the spices that are inside that are smelling?
What we're smelling is ginger, nutmeg, and cinnamon. All the holiday favorites. All right, so it's nice and smushy, but as you can see, I don't have enough sweet potatoes in here, so it's looking kind of brown because of all the cinnamon and spices. But soon we will. Oh, and I used a mixture, so you can use the regular orange sweet potatoes that are like either the garnet yams or the jewel yams. But I also used a couple of Japanese sweet potatoes that are in here, and so they're purple on the outside and white on the inside. They're a little bit more floral, and not everyone likes them. I happen to really love them because they are extra starchy, and they're like creamy and starchy, just overall A+. So I'm gonna crack my eggs into a separate bowl and just whisk them together while we wait for our sweet potatoes to finish steaming. Oh, I should be sure to check the water levels. I'm going to do that in a second after I crack the second egg. I have a habit of burning the bottom of my pots. It's not fun because then you have to clean. These are kind of falling apart. Are they falling apart? They're almost falling apart. The water is still there. See, so that's why I just tend to overfill my pot with water, and so that they cook well. So I'm going to use this whisk that I attempted to whisk the sweet potato and ginger mixture, just to whisk the egg together. Whisks are great for whisking eggs. And I like making scrambled eggs with them because they help make the eggs extra scrambly. I'm trying to say that 3 times fast. I don't know if scrambly is a word or scrambled. Even extra scrambled. No, extra scrambled is easier than extra scrambly. Oh my, that is. Okay. And then to the eggs, I'm just going to add a little bit of salt as well. It's like a grandma trick that, I don't know, always salt the eggs a teeny bit. So I'm just whisking it over here so in case I spill. And I'll have a check in with my potatoes in a second. And you know what? And if you have extra custard filling, then you can make another, like a crustless one. So this won't go to waste. Or you can add an extra egg to the extra filling. That basically, I'm probably going to have some extra filling. So I'm already thinking ahead of what am I going to do with the extra filling. So if you have extra filling, then there are so many things you can do. It's always better to have extra than less. So you can explore fun new things. So what you can do is add a little bit more egg and make like an eggy quiche, like cinnamony quiche thing, and that will be really good. Or you can make like some kind of sweet potato pancake.
You want it crustier?
Yeah, is this the thicker one?
I think they're both pretty thick. Oh, let me check.
Yeah, I think mine are pretty thick.
That was thicker.
Yeah, that one's thicker. This one's good. So my thinner one came out better. So that's what it should look like, and it feels like it feels a little hard. So that one can be out. We can put it here, and then we'll fill it. We'll fill it soon. Yeah, just I have to be careful not to maybe move it over there until I'm ready, because I'll be tempted to touch it and then I'll burn my hand. Don't touch the hot pie pans with your hands. Keep them far away from you while you're cooking, because you will be tempted to do it. You'll be like, oh, I'll just grab it. No, don't do it. I learned the hard way. Anyway, so yes, you can make sweet potato pancakes, which is cool, and little frittata things. So we'll see if I have any extra, and I'll tell you. Maybe we'll extend the class a little bit and have what to do with this. All right, I'm finding some hard sweet potatoes in here. This is very annoying for me. Hopefully you didn't make that. Same. Oh, also if you have a blender, you can put it in a blender. Again, I didn't want a dirty blender or a food processor, but that would make life much easier if you wanted to do that. Okay, so I think my bottom bits are done. Sweet potato bits. Balancing act, because this steamer recipe gets really hot. I'm gonna set it down for a sec and then put this one on for a few more minutes. Will you just bring me a towel so I can do this? Thank you. This is a trick. Do it with a towel, but be careful.
Don't burn the towel.
But don't burn the towel if you have a gas.
Hi, question. I'm a little behind you guys.
Yeah.
I set the timer for my chicken for the 400 degrees, and now I'm gonna turn it down. What temperature?
30. Sorry, that was 30 minutes, right? 350 for about an hour. Sorry. So set it for an hour and then check on it.
Okay.
So we had our chicken on at 400 originally, and then we lowered it to 350. So the first 30 minutes were at 400. Done? Yes. Okay. Now these ones, now this is cake. See, you wait a little longer for your sweet potatoes, they just smash up. It's like butter, like melted butter. So great, so easy. So just working around. Do you guys like my Nonna jokes? Keep getting a sweet potato bath. Sweet potato facial. This is what I'm going to call it. Sweet potato pie with a sweet potato facial on the side. And if your center has a little bit of chunks in it, it's really not a big deal, because your guests are going to be like, this is so delicious. I don't really care if I have a little chunkiness. Some people actually like that. Like those.
Also for people who have like the Vitamix,
Yeah.
potentially blend this.
Yeah, I see that. But yes, if you had a Vitamix, you could blend it, and then it would be extra creamy. But not going to do that. I guess a Vitamix is easier to mix with or clean. That's another thing I'm going to add to my Nonna wish list. Have I been a good girl on the naughty list? How does it work? I don't know. Christmas wasn't really my thing growing up, but I do love and appreciate all of the holidays and the decorations. Great. So this one, another chunker. Just flowing chunks. All right, let's see this last bits. These are done. This is done. Okay. So I'm just sticking my fork in here to see if the sweet potatoes are tender. So this is also something that, by the way, you can prepare in advance. So you can prepare the crust, prepare the filling, and then freeze it, and then cook it whenever you're ready to serve. So if you freeze it, you'll have to allot for defrosting time and putting it in the oven, but it's a great thing, like especially for Thanksgiving, if you're preparing a huge meal for a bunch of people that involves so many different appetizers and then different entrees, salads, soups, you know, whatever you have on your Thanksgiving spread, this is something that you can prepare a couple days in advance. And then when it's time for, you know, for you to serve your meal, it's one less thing for you to do. So that's what's great about this particular part of the meal. And also the cookies that you make will be something that you can also freeze. Freezing cookies is actually something that my grandma Molly does, and I always thought it was so weird. I was like, Grandma, why do you have all these cookies in the fridge? But I get it. She would make a big batch of cookies and then put them in the freezer. And then whenever she had guests come over, she would have a library of cookies which she could access and say, here, welcome to my house, have some cookies. And she would obviously let them defrost completely before serving them. She would freeze the already baked cookies, but you can probably do the same thing with the unbaked cookies, but then you would have to freeze it in the log, which this cookie batter is very sticky. So especially if you're using the molasses. Woo! I'm gonna let that cool for a sec. Just kidding, one up. And then I'm mashing my last sweet potatoes in. So as you can see, I have a lot of sweet potatoes. And my pies are looking my pie dishes are looking really teeny right now. And what I'm gonna do, once this is all mashed, I'm gonna give this a taste and see, do I wanna add more salt? Do I wanna add more spices? Do I wanna add more fill in the blank? Do I wanna add something crazy in? I don't know what that would be, like maybe like something spicy, like a red pepper flake or something. I don't know. So if some people really like spicy food, so they like to have everything spicy. All right. Who has seen this muffin? This can also be a dish on its own, by the way, just this filling. Like this could be sweet potato mash served before you add the egg. Like this is an entree or a side dish, not an entree. Side dish. It can be an entree. You can crack a fried egg over, not crack a fried egg. You can put a fried egg over it, and that's like breakfast right here. Delicious. There's so many things you could do with these fall favorite recipes, which is why I love them so much. So much. Okay, so I'm almost done mashing my stuff, my sweet potatoes. This is also, I'm also about, multitasking because, why not like get a facial and work out at the same time and make dinner. So for those moms or anybody that like works, has a busy day schedule, it's like, oh, I got my gym, my sauna, and my dinner done in 1 hour. That is impressive. That's why my skin's so good. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, enough with the jokes. I am pretty satisfied with this consistency. It could be better, but we're not aiming for perfection. We're aiming for really good tasting food, even though I can be a perfectionist at times. So with the egg, we don't want this to, oh, okay, I said I'm gonna taste it. Do I have a taster thing?
What do you think of this? A little more? Fine.
No, that's fine. That's perfect. I have this little. Okay. Mine needs a little bit more salt, so I'm going to add some salt. And honestly, I really like cinnamon, so I'm going to add more cinnamon. Some people think a tablespoon of cinnamon is a lot. I am not one of those people. So another little sprinkle of salt. Where's my cinnamon? And you can also put garlic in this. Garlic would be really yummy in it. Like a smashed garlic or garlic powder if you want to go the spice route. And you just want to make sure everything is really mixed well. Oh, and there's also salt in the egg. So let's not forget about that. And I'll give it another little whirl of a taste. This is also great baby food, maybe without all the spices, depending on how old your child is. Oh. Okay. I think I need so many sweet potatoes that I think I need a good amount of salt. But I really do taste the ginger and the nutmeg. And then I might add some black pepper as well. I don't want it to be too sweet tasting. But the combination of the white sweet potato and the orange one is really good. You know, getting stuff on my face. Okay. This is what happens when I talk for an hour straight. Get a dry throat. All right. So this is all mixed together. And then I'll do one final taste. I'll have one final taste of this. See where I'm at. Okay, perfect. So now this is also, it's good that I mixed it around a lot because so it's at a nice temperature for the egg to go in. So the egg won't, you don't want it to like curdle. That'll be weird. So that's a tip. When you want to mix it fast so it incorporates. So don't waste any time here because you don't want it to get too comfortable. The egg, I'm saying. You want it to be comfortable, but. So it's like custard-like. I might even make another egg, but we'll see. And then if you have, no, this is actually fine. But if you have a Vitamix, this will be like smooth and velvety. And I recommend doing it in that. I just don't have one, so it's going on my wish list. And okay, so now we are ready to spoon this into our pie dishes. So here. And I will bring the pie dishes closer to me with a towel. See, my mom's so proud of me. I'm not hurting myself tonight. And then I am just going to spoon this in evenly. So I think I need another spoon. Because this is my coconut spoon and I don't want to use that. And then this time I can go back in here. And look how cute. These are like little spice dishes that are, weren't used anymore. So I'm gonna do one spoon and then one spoon so that they're even because I have two. But you probably have one, so you can just put as much as you feel into the pie dish. I'm going to fill it until the top. Ooh, these aren't hot anymore. See, I already picked it up. I have some chunks in here. That Gaby. you'll have a smoother pie than me, but they will taste the same. And just make sure to spread it evenly in your pie dish. And then a smooth top, and then we'll garnish it with some rosemary because we have so much rosemary. Yay. All right, so I am gonna have an extra pie. We'll be eating sweet potatoes for days here.
You can also make it full shepherd's pie layer.
Yeah, I could make a full shepherd's pie layer if you like shepherd's pie. So maybe we'll do that. So shepherd's pie is just ground beef and a mirepoix, which is carrots, onions, and celery, all mixed together in gravy, and then you bake that in a dish, and then put mashed potatoes on top. It's really good. Maybe that'll be dinner, like Friday night or something. I could probably fill this one up a little more. I don't know, honestly. Yeah, shepherd's pie. Didn't think of that. Or if you have leftover, so this is a good thing. If you have leftover turkey, then you can take the turkey off the bone and put it in a dish with some vegetables. Have the gravy on top, and then cook it a little bit so the vegetables cook, and then put this pie filling on top. That's like Thanksgiving leftovers, like, I don't want to say 101, it's definitely like 20 something or 407. That's advanced. So I'm just filling the pie crust, and then we're going to be done with this in a second. Smoothing it out. Okay, so now I have two gorgeous sweet potato pies, and I'm just going to clean the rim because we're all about presentation here too. That's also important. I'll smooth it out, and then I'll smooth it out with a spoon in a second, or a knife. Should get me a butter knife. I have this lovely butter spreader. I'm just gonna spread it out so it's totally even and nice and smooth. Oh, you see my chomps. Sorry guys, it was not the model of perfection today. But it's okay. Hopefully, I will tell you what the taste testers at Nonna and Gaby HQ say. My lovely taste testers. I have 3 of them coming later. Or 2 out of 3 are already here. Mystery who are. If you guys know me, you can probably guess, but I will leave it up to mystery. Okay, so my pie crusts are smoothed out. Look at that. I mean, my pie center. So I'm going to do something really artsy and take a sprig of rosemary and put it in the center of one of them. And guess what I'm going to do with the second one? I'm going to put some thyme on it. Even though there's no thyme in the pie, but I like thyme.
The vibe.
We don't want to leave it out. It's here. You know, I don't want it to feel badly. Here, I'll use this one because I have this too, and then a little cute double sprig. One. Show my finished product in a second. And feel free to do the same. Imitation is the best form of flattery. So check these puppies out. All right, so these are gonna go in the oven for about 40 minutes to 50 minutes. I bless you on your way. And now, finally, you can move on to the cookies, which you will also need a little saucepan for. So I'm going to change out the saucepan for a one that I have over there, because I'm actually also going to do my hindrance because they're sweet potatoey. So feel free to do the same for yourself. All right, so who is ready to make some Gingersnap cookies? I am. These are my favorite cookies. Just getting a bowl. These are my favorite cookies because I love ginger and I love things that snap. So if you like cookies, these are good for you. So these are oat flour based, so you can make them gluten free. And we're going to use 2 cups of oat flour. So I'm going to get my dry ingredients together, and then we will get the wet ingredients together. So 2 cups of oat flour, and then a 1/4 cup of coconut sugar. You can also use granulated sugar, like regular cane sugar, but I would recommend having that amount. So 2 tablespoons if you're using granulated sugar, because it's much sweeter. And then 1 tablespoon of, no, not 1 tablespoon. Oh gosh, don't put 1 tablespoon. 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So these cookies are actually vegan, because I one time was like Googling recipes for gingerbread cookies, and I somehow came upon this recipe, and then I modified it, and I was like, wait, there are no eggs in it. But it's cool for people who don't eat eggs. So there's no eggs in this recipe. Because the molasses makes it very sticky. But the original recipe did not have molasses in it. I just added it in. And fun fact about molasses is that it is great for producing breast milk. So any new moms, soon-to-be moms, hit up that molasses. And here it's great for breast milk production if you're nursing. So far in this bowl we have 2 cups of oat flour, a 1/4 cup of coconut sugar, and 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And I'm going to add some salt to it too, just a pinch, just a little pinch. And then we're also going to add 2 tablespoons of grated ginger. So I already pre-grated some. Might need to grate some more. And use my forearms again. I think I have about 1. Yeah, so I have to grate a whole nother tablespoon. Great. Great. But before I do that, I'm gonna get some of my ingredients in the saucepan. So 6 tablespoons of coconut oil into your saucepan. I didn't turn it on yet because we don't want anything to burn, but I'm just getting all the ingredients in there. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Great. And then you can rub the coconut oil into your hands if you were using your hands. And now you have nice moisturized hands. Okay, so that goes in there, and then so does a 1/4 cup of molasses. Molasses is very sticky. And if you don't want to use molasses, you can use honey. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use the tablespoon because a fourth cup is 4 tablespoons. So not wanting to come out. Maybe it is too what's the word I'm looking for? Solid. Yeah, I think I need well, I think I need to put it in hot water. So if your molasses was in a cold environment, it might be hard to come out. It's like very thick honey. Actually, you know what? I think if I squeeze it,
stick it in front of the heater.
yeah, I think if it, no, it's coming. It is coming. You know what it is? It's just not, here. It's very viscous. I remember when I learned that word in science class. Resistance to flow, that is what it means. So, okay, so we're gonna have 4 tablespoons of this stuff. So 1, 2, it looks like goop. 3, and 4. All right. Okay. There we go, molasses. Leave that for a second. So it can, the trick is I should have used coconut oil first with the same scooper, and then you put the molasses in and it dumps right out. Okay, so 1, 2, and oh, I didn't put this on the recipe list, but I'm gonna add some vanilla into it. So just 1 teaspoon of vanilla, because vanilla makes everything better. And I love vanilla. And I was very surprised when I looked at the recipe and there's no vanilla in it. So I added a teaspoon of vanilla to it. You don't have to if you're not a vanilla enthusiast like myself, but we are going to have it with vanilla ice cream that we're going to make. We're going to drop some vanilla ice cream as someone very close to me. Watch. Okay, so we're gonna put the saucepan on low heat, and I'm gonna scrape the rest of the molasses out here. I'll remove this teaspoon. I should have done this before. Actually, does it come apart yet? They tell you you're supposed to separate your measuring spoons. I never do that. But now I understand why. Okay, this is lower. This is going a little crazy. Super low on my crazy low and slow. Yeah, so you want it on very low, just so the coconut oil melts and the molasses incorporates with the coconut oil. And then while that's mixing / melting together, we can mix together these guys. Oh, I needed to grate more ginger. That's what I needed to do. So I had 1 tablespoon in here, and we're gonna have a total of 2. But you can also have 1 if you're not a ginger enthusiast, and I am a ginger enthusiast. So, and a 4-hour workout enthusiast, clearly, because I'm doing this. Okay. I'm just going to grate the rest of this ginger that is up to my peeled point that we peeled earlier. And then, I'm so excited for these ice cream cookie sandwiches. So basically what we're going to do with the ice cream, I'll tell you now, is we're going to take it out of the freezer, and then we're going to mix cinnamon in with it, let it get soft, and then we're going to assemble the cookie sandwiches. So this is something that my friend Brian does. He loves cinnamon and loves Haagen-Dazs vanilla ice cream. And one time I was over and he's like, let me make you the most amazing thing you'll ever have. And it was pretty great, pretty awesome. And it was kind of, it reminded me of when I was little, and you like mix your ice cream so it gets like really like soupy. We're not gonna get it super soupy, but we'll get it to that softer consistency And then we'll refreeze it so the ice cream sandwiches stick, so you know what's happening. And we're gonna actually have to take out the ice cream in a bit once we assemble the cookies, so that it will be easy to manipulate. Okay, so I have the rest of my grated ginger that's going into these cookies, and we are going to mix this together. I think I'm gonna need another fork instead of this whisk because these guys have been failing me. But for now, this can work for the dry ingredients, but I know with the wet ingredients, it's gonna be a mess. And everything is melted, so I'm gonna turn this off. And then we are going to add the rest of the stuff. So make sure also, so these cookies are gonna bake at, they're gonna bake at 350 degrees for 8 to 12 minutes. So make sure you have a baking sheet ready. I have already a baking sheet lined with parchment paper because I think parchment paper is the easiest way to bake cookies. That way they don't stick to your pan, and it's really easy if you have a metal spatula. You can take them off and cool. Or what I like to do is once they're cooked, I pick up the whole sheet and put it on the counter. And then I have, you see I have another parchment paper ready that will have other cookies on it as well. And then that goes on the hot pan, and then that goes in the oven. So we'll have a few sheets of cookies. And these are also, if you wanted to make cool shapes out of these, you have to freeze the dough and then manipulate it so that you have it flat, and then you can use the cutouts. But so now I'm going to pour my molasses, coconut oil, and vanilla mixture into here, and now we're just going to mix it together. How easy is that? The molasses is, make sure you get all the molasses. That super viscous molasses. Molasses actually has like kind of a bitter-ish flavor if you taste it on its own. But I kind of like it, and that's what these cookies are going to be like, really dark and nutty, like me. Just kidding. I'm not that dark or nutty. You guys can decide that. Oopsie. Some escapees. And so we still have about a 1/4 cup of milk to add. But we might actually not have to add that. We might only need to add, if you're using oat flour, you might not need to add the milk. I actually think this is fine, but maybe I'll just add the 2 tablespoons instead of the 1/4 cup. Because that's, if you ground your oat flour, sometimes that, and what I mean ground is you take whole oats and then grind it in the Vitamix. You might have to use the milk because it tends to be drier because the oats are bigger and this oat flour is just super, super fine. But you want a dough that looks like this. So if you want, you can taste it because there's no eggs in it, and see what you think. I'm going to taste it and see what I think. Gingery. Ooh, very molasses. Ooh, I love it. Okay, so I'm just going to add a couple tablespoons of the, where is my thing? Of my coconut milk. And then my I make homemade coconut milk, so this is kind of fixed. So, oops. All right, great. So 2 tablespoons of milk, whatever milk you used. Oh, I don't think I added the milk to the, I don't think I added the milk to the sweet potato pie filling. That's okay, it'll be okay. If you didn't make it yet, you can add the milk to it, but it just makes it a little bit lighter. Ours will be a little bit more dense, but I think it's not a major step. I think I added the milk into the recipe this year, but it wasn't part of my original recipe. So we're actually doing the OG Nonna Gaby recipe, which involves 0 milk of any kind. Whoops. That's okay. That's why it was thick. This is what happens when you're multitasking. Anyway, so I am going to spoon this mixture. Why do I keep losing my spoons? Just make little cookies out of it and put them on the cookie sheet. So if you haven't put your sweet potato pie in the oven yet, if you haven't added the mixture into your pie, then I would add the milk and see if you like a fluffier cookie, a fluffier pie. I have more batter, so we can try that. And then this dough is very sticky, so I'm just putting a little in my hand and then just rolling it out and like flattening it a little bit. They will expand.
Nonna Gaby, we need help.
Yes.
I have a question. So we're also running behind. We're happy to say we put the chicken in the
Hold on, I can't hear you. 1 second.
Okay.
Yes.
And the sweet potatoes are done. And now we're finishing up the filling, but it's very crumbly. How do you get to put it in the pie tin and you just press it down and get rid of the crumbles?
Okay, so you're making the pie crust now.
Yes.
Okay, so you added the oil to the flour, right? And it's crumbly.
Yeah, the coconut oil, yeah.
Yeah. Did you add the cold water yet?
Yes.
Okay, and then maybe why don't you add a little bit more cold water?
Okay.
Our coconut oil is kind of chunky. That's what I'm noticing.
It's what forms the ball. Like if you can get it together with your hands to form a ball, then that is.
Can you unmute us? I mean, mute us again.
And then from there you can roll it out. Oh, sorry, guys. All right, so my cookies are a little deformed, but I'm just using this spoon to guide me. So I'm just putting them in my hands and flattening them out a little. But they will, trust me, they will expand. We're making sandwiches, so you want them to be kind of big. Or you can make them smaller, mini sandwiches, whatever you want. So I'm going to move to my second cookie sheet. That is on just a baking sheet. And flatten this out. Oops. Okay. I'm trying to make them all fit on 2 sheets so we can do 2 rounds of baking. How's our timer for the chicken doing? Probably have
15 minutes.
15 minutes left. Great, perfect. So this is a bit of a longer Nonna Gaby class as we have a lot of stuff in the oven. So, and this is what happens on Thanksgiving. So this is actually a good example. I'm very glad that I made the mistake and did not add the milk into my pie filling, because the holidays can be, although they are so much fun, they can sometimes be a source of stress for people preparing the food and the meals and, you know, coordinating everything. And when you're making so many things at once and you have to think about, oh, this is in the oven, that's in the oven, it's easy to forget a step or two. So I luckily, know that it will come out okay because I've made it without milk before. It's just a little bit more dense, which I don't mind, but I wanted to try something new with you guys. So you guys can try it out. Let me know how it goes. But it's just good because when you make a little mistake in the kitchen, you can almost always fix it. And it might even taste good anyway. Like, nobody will know. My Nonna Gaby HQ taste testers are not going to know the difference. They're just going to eat a really good pie. So I'm going to get these hands washed. Here are my cookies. Try and make an even amount. Did I make an even amount? 1, 2. Yes, I did. So that you can make sandwiches with them. And then I will put them in the oven. So I'm going to give my hands a rinse, and then we're going to get the ice cream out and do my cinnamon ice cream tray. Great. Okay, I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay, so I'm putting this first row of cookies in the oven. So we're gonna set a timer for 8 minutes, check on them, and then we will see if they need a little more time. So 8 minutes. Is there a top on the top shelf? So as this is an oven game, hold on, I want to get the ice cream out. So I have a bowl, I have my ice cream. This is also a true test of oven shifting around. So I had my chicken on the bottom, but the pies were on the top shelf. And then we had to shift the pies to the shelf with the chicken, turn the chicken, and then put the cookie tray on top. So there's like a bunch of different maneuvers that you can do to make this work. And so I have Van Leeuwen ice cream. Van Leeuwen is my favorite ice cream. And I'm gonna scoop some of it into a bowl. And I already snuck a little bit of it earlier because I needed a little picking up. But see, this ice cream is very hard, so I should have taken it out earlier. But we'll just put about. I'm gonna reserve probably. We could do you can do this with the whole thing, but I also am a purist and I like vanilla ice cream by itself sometimes too. So I'm gonna only do ice cream in your hand. Not a bad thing. Ice cream on your foot. Also not a bad thing. I'm wearing slippers, so it's okay. I'm not actually eating off my feet. So I'll probably use half the carton of the ice cream to do the cinnamon one, and then I'll leave the rest for the rest of us at Nonna Gaby HQ to munch on at a later date. All right, so that's about a little more than half, but it'll get the sandwiches that we need made, and then this can go back in the freezer. So once you get it, so this is gonna need to melt a little bit more, but then basically what you're gonna do is, this is a very, how do I want to say, very sophisticated trick. So vanilla ice cream in bowl, cinnamon, shaker in hand, shake cinnamon over vanilla ice cream, mix. Wow. So this is an ode to my dear friend Brian, who made this for me when I was in his home. Such a hospitable host. And I think he might be watching this later. So this is a shout out to the Favorietes for their cinnamon ice cream revelation that they caused. So I'm just mixing it. I don't think this was the best mixing bowl. I haven't mastered his mixing technique, but this is kind of like if you guys have ever been to Cold Stone Creamery. I don't particularly like the ice cream that much there. I don't know why. I haven't actually been there in eons, but I didn't really care for the smell of the shop. It was very, I don't know what it was. But this reminded me of it because you're basically doing the same thing with the ice cream and kind of whipping it around. Ooh, this is the Nonna Gaby class that is a workout of a century, because I'm telling you, my arms, I'm gonna have people say they want Michelle Obama arms. I'm gonna have those. Yes.
Gabby, I have a question, please.
Yes.
We're working on the pie crust,
Uh-huh.
and it seems like there's enough ingredients to make 2 pie crusts. Is that correct?
Oh, I made 2. But yeah, you can, it depends how big your pie, I didn't specify pie dish size. So with my pie dish size, yes, it is enough to make 2. So why don't you split it up? And then what you can do also is freeze the other half that you don't use, and you can use it for Thanksgiving.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Freeze it in a bowl?
In a ball, yes. I would put it in a ball and then cover it with saran wrap and freeze it.
Or should I make the pie crust and freeze it in the pie shell, in the pie?
Oh, you can do that too. You can do that too. I was just assuming that you were
Okay.
using the pie
Alrighty, thank you.
shell thing. Okay, so my vanilla ice cream is whipped and ready, but my cookies are not. So I'm gonna stick this back in the freezer. So this is like soft serve. It's really good. I mean, this is a great trick. Okay, so this is going back in the freezer, and then we're gonna check on the cookies in a little bit. And this is my special cookie. This is my special cookie slider tool. Really helps to get the cookies off the baking sheet. So we're gonna put this to use in a bit. So the Brussels sprouts are out, but I would like to have them broiled, but I'm gonna wait until the cookies are done baking to do that, which will only be a few more minutes. And then we'll assemble our ice cream sandwiches, and then we'll be ready to eat. So this is a great meal for families. Also, there's so much you can do with the leftover chicken. If you have leftover chicken, and you can make soup from it. That's why we have all the vegetables underneath it. So if you have the leftover chicken, you can just take everything off the bone, stick it in a pot with all the leftover vegetables, add water, maybe some spices, and then you have soup. Or you can make chicken salad, or you can have it cold on a sandwich. This is why I love Thanksgiving, because of the leftovers. I know we're making chicken and not turkey, but I used to love Thanksgiving leftovers. Turkey leftovers is the best. You make turkey sandwiches, turkey on your salads, turkey straight from the fridge into your mouth. Very good. So I just want to check in with you guys and see how you are all doing. I know Susan is a little behind, and for those of you watching the recording, hopefully you paused, rewinded, and got yourself to where you need to be. But I had so much fun cooking with you guys and making all of our of my fall favorites. Hopefully they'll become your fall favorites too, and you'll keep recreating them again and again in the years to come. Yes, you.
Can I ask one final question?
Of course. Well, I'm not signing off yet because I want to show the ice cream sandwich put together. But yes, please ask your questions.
So we're making the cookies,
Yes.
and we want to know how flat should we make them? Will they expand, or
They will expand. They will expand. But you can just palm them flat. Like I made a ball and just palmed it and then put it on the baking sheet. So mine are coming out now, so you'll see them in a second. Careful. So I'll show you my little trick too.
You definitely want to harden.
Yeah, they do need to harden. So what I do is I take the sheet off so that they go directly on the counter so they can cool faster. And then I already made cookies on another baking sheet that are going to go in straight for 10 more minutes or 8 more minutes. So for me, 8 minutes works because I was doing the top. See, look at that. Look how great they stay. So these need to cool before they're really fall aparty right now, but they need to cool before they get paired with the lovely ice cream that we have. But this will aid in the cooling process. It might not help that I have a heater underneath here warming me up, but I think the cookies will be cool. But they smell so good. I kind of want to eat one now, but I won't. I will. I don't want to make you guys jealous. But I'm going to start a little bit of the cleanup process and just getting everything together. So molasses is a great new ingredient. It's not the most used, but I really like it. If you didn't have molasses or if you don't like molasses, it'll change the color of the cookies. They won't be this brown, but you can replace that with honey and they'll taste really good too. This is a lovely recipe that I'm very excited to pair with my new cinnamon ice cream. So I feel like a chemist a little bit because I'm like tinkering with all these different ideas. Anyway, and Ariel, do you have any questions? Am I muted for you? Maybe. Or maybe you're frozen. Ooh. Sorry, I can't help myself. I always want to eat dessert before the actual meal. But I'll eat.
So our chicken timer is about to go off.
So our chicken's going, yeah, our chicken timer just went off.
And then I think we have 10 more minutes for the pie.
Oh, great. So this is great timing. So I'm going to go check on the chicken. You guys go check on your chicken. You want it to be golden brown. But I think what I'm going to do is, since it is, I'm going to actually leave it in. Well, you can check on it and let me know how it looks. Fun in the kitchen. Cooking in a New York City kitchen or in a New York City living room, that is challenge in it itself. Is it like browning?
It is browning.
Okay. So why don't we can just keep it in. You can't really, the good thing is with a roast chicken, you can't really overcook it. Like, I don't know, it just gets more and more juicy. So we'll keep it in the oven until the cookies and the pie are done. And then I'm going to put the, what am I going to do? I'm going to put the Brussels sprouts in on broil. Will you bring the ice cream out? Yeah. So the cookies are pretty chilled, and my ice cream is nice and creamy. So I'm going to flip one of these guys over and take this spoonful and spoon the ice cream onto it. And then I'll do the same. So I'm going to do that for 3 cookies because that's 6 on this sheet. 1, 2, 3, and I'm just going to divide my ice cream evenly. I'm not going to make 6 ice cream sandwiches, but you can feel free to make as many as you want. My hand is getting cold. And then these will go back in the freezer until you are ready to eat again. So you want to do this kind of fast because the ice cream is starting to melt a little, even though it's not super. All right, great. So I have my ice cream sandwiches ready. 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
Look at that. That is Gingersnap ice cream Sammy. So if I can get, I'm gonna put these on a plate and put them back in the freezer before the ice cream melts. We want to stop the melting process because the cookies are lukewarm, but lukewarm is warm for ice cream. So, and that one. Woo. Okay, great. I would wait until they're fully cooled, but in the interest of time, putting them. And because I'm cooking, I get to snack on the leftover vanilla ice cream and cinnamon as an appetizer. So I'm going to begin the final goodbyes, not the final goodbyes, but final goodbyes for the Fall Favorites class. I hope you guys had fun with me. I hope you enjoy all the food that we made together. And I would love, love, love to see how everything comes out for you, especially if you're watching the replay. Please post your photos and tag the Nonna Gaby and hashtag Nonna Gaby on Instagram and Facebook or any other social media platform that I'm not aware of. But bye. And I would love to see everything that you're making. And if you make any mistakes, just take them in stride like I did today. I think I did. I don't know. We'll see how it comes out. I'll let you know. But I think it's going to be good. And I hope you guys enjoy all the food together with your families. And hopefully, Nonna Gaby's favorites will become some of your favorites as well. So I really look forward to hearing from you. And any last questions from my live people?
Not at the moment. Thank you, Gaby.
I'll
We
stay
can't
on.
wait to eat it. Okay.
I'll stay on for a few more minutes. So we have the chicken in the oven, and that's cooking. And then I'm going to put the Brussels sprouts on to broil for about 5 minutes before eating because I want them to get nice and crispy. So if you're at home watching the replay, remember that the Brussels sprouts cook for 45 minutes at 400 degrees. So, and if you have 2 ovens, it's much easier to do because we're cooking at 2 different a lot of the things at 2 different temperatures, either 400 or 350.
You can also pause the recording and then show.
Hi, Gaby. Hi, it's Shelly. I have one question. So you never turn over the chicken, do you?
No, I don't turn over the chicken.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I just keep it in and let it go. And the chicken, my chicken is still in. So I typically cook it for like an hour and a half after I do the half hour at 400 degrees.
Okay.
And if you want, which I'm probably going to do, I'll probably leave it in while I'm broiling the Brussels sprouts for a little bit. So
Great.
that the skin even crispier.
Thank you very much. It was a great class.
Oh, awesome. I'm so glad you enjoyed it, Shelly.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
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 Okay, so I hope everyone enjoys all the food, and then I'll show you all of the final product in a little bit. So if you're getting the recording, you'll see all the final products. Now, bye. Okay, so everything is out of the oven. I have my cookies cooling on the rack, or not on the rack, off the rack on the table. And here are my Brussels sprouts post broil, and then I just squeezed a little bit of orange juice on top. And then here are my 2 pies. They are not as fluffy because I did not add the milk into it. But if you are watching the recording, you can add the milk to it and then it'll be fluffier, but they're nice and dense. And then the crust is like, it's nice and firm, and then it'll give you a nice fun way to eat sweet potatoes. And here is our gorgeous chicken. Ooh, it's very heavy. There it is. Nice and golden brown. The skin looks juicy and beautiful, and the skin is hopefully cooked all the way through. And then our vegetables are beautifully around them. So I'm so excited. I can't wait to dig in. And my ice cream sandwiches are put together. Do we have one to pull out? I'm just snacking on extra cookies.
They're looking a little melty and deformed,
Oh,
so we might have to rebuild them.
okay. All right. So I'll make new ones. Those need to freeze. Wait till your cookies cool all the way to make your ice cream sandwiches. Yeah. Okay, so everyone enjoy the meal, and I will see you guys soon. Until next time, bye.